Trio of Knicks to this year's midseason classic in Minneapolis. John Starks has gone from bagging groceries to the CBA to his first All-Star game. And Charles Oakley, who personifies the word hustle, will also make his All-Star debut. Tonight, the Knicks hope to give their All-Stars a rousing send-off as they take on the Golden State Warriors. Welcome to Madison Square Garden in New York for the Knicks and the Golden State Warriors. And for Golden State, this the conclusion of a four-game East Coast journey. The Warriors, with a record of 26-20, despite a host of injuries, they are in fourth, 9.5 behind division-leading Seattle, only a half game behind third place Portland, while the Knicks at 34-13. Once again, they have the best record of the Eastern Conference, and they are 7 games in front of Orlando. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with John Andres. And John, it was back on the 9th of December. We were in Oakland, and we saw the Knicks defeat the Warriors handily by the count of 94-81. And it was a former Golden State Warrior by the name of John Starks. John, remember, played 36 games with the Warriors back in 88-89, who led the way. John had a terrific all-around game.
Well, John loves that fast-paced game that Don Nelson's team plays at, and he really got into it early, as did Patrick Ewing to Oakley to Starks on a fast break. John really liked to fly down court in that game out in Golden State. He also liked to drive the middle and show us one we haven't seen before or since. A beautiful drive. And as usual, the long-range shot was working. He had 3 out of 3 from three-point land in the third quarter alone. 10 out of 20 from the field, a 27-point game, and in all, 4 out of 8 from three-point range. He also had 6 rebounds and assists and steals. He did it all, Marv. It was a tough game, but when they won small, Golden State, that is, John Starks really shined.
And Starks could be a difficult matchup for the Warriors tonight. Now, the best all-around player on the Golden State Warriors this season has been a guy that folks in this area don't see too frequently. He's a second-year man out of Alabama. He is the Golden State All-Star representative. That is Latrell Sprewell, who has had a sensational all-around year.
Yes, I think he's as surprised as anybody, the fact that he's done so well in the NBA. But the guy is loaded with skills. And on a fast break, Avery Johnson knew what to do with Latrell Sprewell. He throws that ball up. Sprewell also can play in the low post. He's very effective down low. You can see those fancy moves. And again, going airborne, he's very, very tough. And when he plays the guard position, which he normally does, he's got the long jump shot as well. Sprewell is leading the NBA in minutes played, almost 45 a game, leading the team in scoring. And he's also number 3 in the NBA in steals. This guy's an amazing talent that Golden State's very lucky to have.
All right, coming up in a moment, the New York Knicks and the Golden State Warriors. And we will get a first look here in New York at the Warriors' highly touted rookie, Chris Webber, making his Garden debut.
From Alabama, number 15, Latrell Sprewell. And forward at 6'10" from Michigan, number 4, Chris Webber. At forward at 6'9" from Syracuse, number 30, Billy Owens. And at center at 6'10" from Iowa State, number 52, Victor Alexander.
Let's go.
The trainer is Tom Abdenor. Assistant coaches Greg Popovich, Don Nelson, and Paul Pressey. And the head coach, Don Nelson. And now, please welcome your New York Knicks. And guard at 6'5" from Oklahoma State, making his All-Star debut in Minneapolis this Sunday, number 3, John Starks. At guard at 6'2" from UNLV, number 50, Greg Anthony. At forward at 6'10" from Pittsburgh, number 54, Charles Smith. At forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, honored as an NBA All-Star for the first time, number 34, co-captain Charles Oakley. And at center at 7 feet from Georgetown, an 8-time All-Star, number 33, co-captain Patrick Ewing. And trainers Mike Sumner, the assistant trainer Tim Walsh. Assistant coaches are Dick Carter and Jim Van Gundy. And the head coach of the Knicks, Pat Riley.
Well, for the Knicks, their all-star representation well documented during the introductions. For the Knicks and the Warriors, both in the midst of grueling schedules. For the Knicks tonight, the completion of a stretch of 7 games in 10 days. And we talked with Pat Riley about the fatigue factor.
It's been typical NBA basketball. And, you know, we're tired. I think, you know, everybody in the league is a little bit fatigued. You know, we're way past the halfway point, basically, and so, you know, I think, you know, I think you have to take the good with the bad. You can't use it as any kind of an excuse, and, you know, we're on equal turf with Golden State.
Well, Pat Riley knew when the season schedule came out that he'd be pretty much saying those words tonight. All teams are tired right now. It's a vicious schedule. But thankfully for Pat Riley, his coaching staff, and the Knicks, they're certainly holding up well now with their 7th game in the last 10 nights.
The officials tonight, Mike Mathis, Jim Clark, and George Tolliver. The Knicks coming off the walloping of the Sixers last night. Oakley gets it back out. Open three-pointer for Starks. So John Starks gets right to it. The Golden State Warriors last night with a victory at Charlotte. For the Warriors, this is the final stop on a 4-game, 6-day road trip. Oakley with the steal, and Starks breaking Avery Johnson back. Starks able to elude him, and Don Nelson screaming for a traveling violation.
Yes, how many steps does John Starks get at Madison Square Garden? Meanwhile, the exciting part of that play was Charles Oakley's steal.
Victor Alexander, who did not start last night, in fact, did not play at all last night for the first time in his 3-year NBA career. Weber gets inside, he forced it, and it's rebounded by Ewing.
Well, if Charles Oakley's opening up moving like this is the last game he'll ever play, and he wants everyone to remember, boy, is he filled with energy.
Charles Smith has to throw back out, and here's Charles Oakley. Rebounded by Alexander. Avery Johnson on the run. Nice feed for Latrell Sprewell. The Knicks 5, Golden State 2.
That's the Golden State style. They want to run, 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 and get you thinking the same way.
John Starks gets right to it again. Quick release by Starks, and the Knicks with an 8-2 lead. We were chatting just moments ago during the course of our open about John Starks having a terrific game in Oakland back in early December, and he opens up fast here.
As he did last night in Philadelphia.
Alexander. Victor Alexander gets the roll. And the Knicks now with an 8-4 lead. Here's Smith, got the step.
That's so beautiful. The way he took off as soon as he got that ball and didn't try and slam that ball down, but just worked the backcourt beautifully.
And a 22nd timeout is taken by Golden State. Don Nelson is not happy.
Oh, just a great move by Charles Smith, and he hypnotized the defense on that play. They absolutely turned out watching him. It was so pretty.
Don Nelson last night was unhappy with the play of #1 draft pick Chris Webber and pulled him, benched him the final 7 minutes of the game. Chris Webber finished 10 of 15, 22 points. And I'm told that Chris has been a little bit sensitive to criticism. Don Nelson has tried to pull back. He's always been a very volatile coach, but Chris Webber has felt the sting of some of the words of Don Nelson.
Well, very few players with the egos that some of these fellows come out of college with aren't subject to criticism. They've been told most of their lives that they are the greatest.
Well, he also also in college was coached as Smith hits again to give the Knicks a 12-4 lead by a very low-key guy, Steve Fisher, and I'm sure as the big star did not take much heat. And it's quite a transition when you step up to the NBA. You play 82 games. Things a little bit different. Sprewell tries the three and hits. Latrell Sprewell from downtown, and the Knicks with a 12-7 lead. Also yesterday, Chris Webber missed the shoot-around. He attended the Michigan-Indiana game the other day because of weather problems, did not make it back, but they treated that gingerly. He was fined only $250. Here's Chris Mullin hearing it from the crowd as he checks in. Chris having a tough time as of late, coming back from an assortment of injuries. He's been coming off the bench, trying to play his way back. And Alexander shows the outside touch. So the Knicks lead by the score of 12-9. Here is Greg Anthony for three. Yes! Well, the Knicks firing and hitting from three-point range. That's their third three-pointer.
Boy, the Knicks look tired, don't they, Marv? I think Pat Riley's surprised at what he's seeing. No sign of fatigue.
Well, he felt the club was tired last night. Sprewell cuts it to a 4-point Knick lead. And the Knicks went out and played about as close to a perfect game as you can against the 76ers, winning 114-79. Starks, nice feed. Oakley missed the layup. Oakley on the steal. Good hustle by Charles, setting up Greg Anthony for another three.
This is unbelievable. Energy, effectiveness, great shooting, good decision making, and the game isn't 5 minutes old.
And the Knicks have hit 7 of 10 from the field. They are 4 for 4 from downtown. Knicks lead 18-11. Anthony eluding Sprewell. Anthony sets up Oakley. Charles Oakley extends to a 20-11 lead, and Don Nelson wants to talk it over. A fast start by the Knicks, who are hearing it from the crowd. 7.5 remaining in this first quarter. The Knicks with a 20-11 lead as they have hit 8 of 11 from the field, 4 of 4 from downtown. Owens picked up on a double team, got it to Webber, and Webber had to change his shot as he was met by the combination of Smith and Ewing. Alexander trying to front Ewing. Oakley with the fake. And deflected out. Last touch by Oakley. Charles pointing at Webber, but did not get the call. Billy Owens, an excellent ball handler, now brings it across. Sprewell is matched with Starks, and they isolate them. Sprewell is fouled. Latrell Sprewell, native of Milwaukee, did not play organized basketball until his senior year in high school. Became the starting center at his high school team, averaged 28 per game. And John noted for the most part, for those who didn't note him, because he was taken 24th in the draft, as a defensive player. The Warriors consider this offense a bonus.
Just amazing how wrong you can be about talent. In this case, wrong in a positive way. He is such a well-rounded player, only in his second year, and he's just taken over this team. And has a very nice demeanor too, Marv. He doesn't look like he's one of these overreactionary type players. He's very cool.
Knicks have a 7-point lead. Anthony passed on the three. Knicks working the ball around well. Ewing not able to hit. Run down by Anthony. Knicks have a new 24. Smith for Ewing, did not convert. On the reverse. Mullen stopped by Starks. Gives it to Webber. Nicely done. Chris Webber floating it home. And the Knicks now lead by 5.
That's what makes Chris Mullin a pleasure to play with, too. He loves to pass that ball. He can wait till the last second like great hitters can with baseball decisions.
Smith. Charles Smith off to the fast start. He has 6 points. The Knicks 22, Golden State 15. Webber in a post-up mode. goes to the hook. And the Knicks have the numbers 3-on-2. Oakley from Anthony. Yes. Charles Oakley with his second field goal. Knicks 24, the Warriors 15.
I think some of the Golden State defenders are hoping that the Knicks will miss some jump shots, and they're not getting their wishes. They're not playing the Knicks tough enough. They're not getting back quickly enough. The Knicks are beating Golden State right now at the Golden State game, which is offense, explosion, getting that ball down the court.
Chris Gatling checking in for the first time, replacing Victor Alexander. Gatling, 6'10", 230-pounder in his third season out of Old Dominion. 10 of 15 from the field now for the Knicks. Weber on the drive, gets the call. The basket counts. And the foul on Oakley. Chris Weber will go to the line.
Weber working down low. A big, strong man makes Charles Oakley back up. Not too much flair, just a big statement with that move. And you can see over the last 3 games, he's over 22 points a game and shooting the ball at a remarkable clip at 77%.
Free throw shooting a problem, though. Only 54% from the line. Knicks 24, the Warriors 17. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Anthony with the open 3. He's hit 2 already. Weber on the rebound. And Owens eludes Starks. Owens switching hands on the dribble. Draws the foul. What a move. Oh, they called an offensive foul. Billy Owens called for the charge.
Oh, Billy Owens, a big man at 6'9", felt he had Charles Smith backing up and that he could take it right to the basket, but he got called for the foul.
Ewing now played by Gatling. Starks eludes Sprewell. Good box out by Owens. Smith stripped Owens. The feed for Anthony and rejected. It's a goaltend. Owens knocking it away. Nice combination move between Charles Smith and Greg Anthony.
You don't expect Charles Smith to make defensive plays like that, but he's right in line with Oakley now with a beautiful play and a gorgeous lead pass that Anthony handled quite well.
8 points for Greg Anthony. Knicks lead by 9. Gatling on the recovery. Shot clock down to 1. Weber behind the back, and it cost. He did not realize the 24-second shot clock was running down, and he wasted time with that pass. The oddity of this first quarter, the Knicks on fire, getting the scoring from a number of people, but Patrick Ewing has not scored. That was intended for Ewing. Ewing is 0 for 3 from the field. 3.5 remaining in this first quarter. Sprewell off the spin. Latrell Sprewell averaging better than 21 points per game. He's the NBA's second leading scorer among guards. Leads the NBA in minutes played. He averages over 44 minutes per game. Offensive foul on Ewing, who does not like the call and has a word with George Tolliver. The Golden State Warriors with a record of 26 and 20. They have won 4 of their last 6. Rejected by Ewing. Gathered in by Weber. The feed from Mullen. Chris Mullen with his first field goal. The Knicks lead is now 5.
Always a pleasure to watch Mullen shoot the ball. Very few people use the backboard as readily as he does to his advantage.
Foul called on Gatling. Timeout is taken. We'll be back in a moment. The Heat got involved in a heated exchange that was prompted by that push by Charles Oakley of Steve Smith of the Heat. The whistle had blown. Smith was just trying to stuff the ball, and Oakley with the shove leading to this, and that led to this. Patrick Ewing John Starks, each fined $2,500 apiece for leaving the bench. The Knicks were fined $10,000 under new NBA guidelines that now penalize teams for players' action as a result of the altercation in Miami. Traveling violation is called. Also, the flagrant foul that was called on Charles Oakley late in the game was overturned, but Oakley received a flagrant foul for that particular play, for that shove of Steve Smith that the league felt instigated the pushing and shoving match. The scorecard on flagrant fouls, incidentally, regarding Oakley, he has 3. Loose ball foul. Loose ball foul. Charged to Gatling, that is his second, and then Ewing and Starks fined for leaving the bench during the course of the get-together. The Knicks 26 and the Warriors 21 with 2:20 left in this first quarter. Gatling. Ewing with the rebound, taking out of the hands of Weber, then he lost it. Gatling with the steal. So despite the hot start by the Knicks, Golden State within 3 points.
It's always dangerous to try and take the ball from a big man. If he goes into that arm swinging, you can get hurt badly. Ewing's case, sometimes it pays because he can cough that ball up on occasion when he's challenged by people with strong hands.
Derek Harper just checked in, getting off the shot, leading to the loose ball foul on Owens. Here comes Rolando Blackman for John Starks. Starks leads with 8 points. Hit 2 from downtown. So it's Blackman and Harper in the backcourt. 8-2 run by Golden State. Anthony Mason has come on for the first time. Mason with Ewing and Oakley on the front line. Oakley gets inside and then is blocked by Owens. Here's Sprewell on the run. Sprewell is fouled. It was hooked by Harper.
Boy, he's fun to watch, but it must be horrible to try and guard Sprewell. He's so fast. Taking a look at that play by Oakley, trying to get it done inside. That has that shot blocked. Owens with a nice job, pitches it to Sprewell. Watch how he goes around Harper there and backs him up with his swivel hips move.
Well, the honors are beginning to come to Latrell Sprewell in his second season out of Alabama, but he says his goal is to make the NBA all-defensive team, and I think he'll have a pretty good shot at it this season.
That's music to a coach's ear. He's at 23 years of age now. He'll be the youngest player to represent the Warriors in an All-Star game since 1976, when Jamal Wilkes at 22 represented Golden State.
Harper having trouble with the double team. Finally got it across. Blackman for 3. Oakley gets it out. They collapse on Ewing. And Patrick Ewing with his first field goal. Nice move. The Knicks lead 28-25.
Nobody on Golden State's team can get up there in the air with Patrick. They're just not big enough.
Oh, Owens in that collision. Knicks were looking for a foul. And Byron Houston, who just checked in, was able to hit. Mason off the double team. Well, he loves that move. Going to it more and more in recent games. Knicks lead 30-27. Sprewell off on that three-point attempt, and it will be Nick Ball. Avery Johnson, who started the game last night in Charlotte, checking in for the first time, replacing Latrell Sprewell, who has been the Golden State offense. 13 points for Sprewell. And you know this will be a brief rest for Sprewell. Patrick Ewing extends to a 5-point Nick lead, and Chris Gatling is shaken up. Now a timeout is taken. Golden State trader Tom Abdenauer checking out Chris Gatling. Warriors 11 of 20, Knicks 14 of 25 from the field. Avery Johnson, Billy Owens. Here's Mullen. Chris Mullen would love to regain the touch back here on the Garden Court, a court he knows so well. Final seconds of the quarter, down to 5. Blackman with the fake. Knicks lead 34-29 as time runs out. So after 1, it's the Knicks 34 and the Warriors 29.
I ran into David Perry over the weekend.
I haven't thought about him since he retired.
He sure ain't living like he used to. Is that what we have to look forward to?
Actually, when I started with the company, I talked to my broker at Payne Weber. He felt that our retirement plan wouldn't be enough, so we decided I should be putting some money aside.
How do you even know about our plan?
He asked.
Nowadays, you see more and more Alamo cars in America's business regions. From the Sun Belt to the Grain Belt to inside the Beltway. You see our Cadillacs on Wall Street and our convertibles in Tinseltown. No matter which belt, coast, or loop you travel to on business, you're in Alamo territory with more on-airport locations than ever and all the miles free, including those in places where doing business isn't all business.
This neighborhood is tough on kids. I know it was for me. Played ball on the same fields. Even hung out at the courts on Lincoln. Used to be pretty hot, too. Yeah, I was that good. Hey, welcome to Foot Locker, man.
What's up, man?
All my employees know to treat every customer right. I help you, sir.
Yeah. Can you tell me about these cross trainers, please?
Hey, customer's the boss. Everyone likes it when they get respect. I can't help it. I see myself about 10 years ago in a lot of those faces. You just have to like people, and you just want to help people.
Bart's going to show you how easy it is to save big money with Whiz Bucks. Let's clip them, Phil. Whiz Bucks, a giant-sized way of saying nobody beats the Whiz.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you in part by the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. By Toyota. I love what you do for me, Toyota. And by AT&T, the official telecommunications company of the New York Knicks and the NBA.
Bruce Beck back at Madison Square Garden with Giants wide receiver Mike Sherrard, who of course used to play with the San Francisco 49ers, which means you know the Warriors and you know the Knicks. Who you rooting for?
Well, I got to cheer for the local team. I used to have season tickets for the Warriors for 2 years, and I really enjoyed watching them play, but I got to pull for the Knicks.
Tell me about the hip and how it's coming along.
Hip's coming along great. In a week and a half, I can start jogging, so I'm looking forward to being 100% and playing football next season.
As a UCLA grad, is it nice to see the Bruins back?
Back in the top 10. They had #1 for a minute, but they'll get back there.
Mike, be well.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you, Marv.
All right, for a second quarter is underway. The shot clock is down to 5. Weber, bad shot, rebounded by Anthony Bonner, who just checked in.
I say when the Knicks give you seats in the 5th row, root for them.
That's right.
You'll be back that way.
Yes.
Go with who got you the freebies. Here's Hoffer. That was almost put home by the Warriors. Mullen shooting. And it will be Nick Ball.
Marv, a word of caution now to people watching the Knicks play, and they've played so well here in the opening quarter. They're playing a Golden State Warrior pace, which is lots of shots. However, the Golden State Warriors are used to this pace, and they're hanging very well with the Knicks while shooting over 50%. The Knicks at close to 60% in the first quarter are not going to keep that up. So can they get into the style they want, which is a half-court offense and running selectively when they cool down a bit? Golden State's doing very well hanging with the red-hot Knicks right now.
And Billy Owens will get a rest, sits down. Chris Gatling apparently all right after taking that elbow in the back. Checked back in. And Mullen's pass went astray. So the ball back to the Knicks. Knicks have won 3 straight, 4 of the last 5 against the Warriors. They took both games last season and then one out in Oakland back on December the 9th. Derek Hoffer again off the mark. Hit several from outside yesterday against Philadelphia. Prior to that, 4 of 18 from the field. Patrick Ewing called for the foul, making contact with Byron Houston. And he's been hit with a technical foul. Had something to say to Mike Mathis and called for the tee.
Well, he was being fronted by 6'5" Byron Houston, who's about 250 pounds according to the scorecard, but the guy is immovable. So Ewing was trying to push him out of the way and got caught. You could see him reach out and hit Houston, or move him, or attempt to move him. Patrick was frustrated by the shorter man getting the better of that contest.
Is Byron Houston a very wide 6'5", as you say, listed at 250 pounds. Remember the story? He was listed in some quarters while at Oklahoma State at 6'9".
Yeah, when the NBA draft came around, the people who really got out to saw him laughed when they saw those numbers.
It was 6'9" in width, but he is about 6'5". Oklahoma State's all-time leading scorer, rebounder, and shot blocker. Has not been getting the playing time recently. Weber with the rebound and foul. Herb Williams coming on for Patrick Ewing. And Bonner called for the foul. 2 minutes have gone by in the second quarter. The Knicks with a 34-30 lead. Chris Weber, who is a poor free throw shooter, missed his earlier attempt. He's at 54% from the line for the season.
And 55% from the field, showing the inconsistencies of the sport.
Well, most of his shots are from close to.
That's true.
Yes,
that's true. But you know, you're under pressure too. I'll stick to my phone. See how I do. How am I doing?
Knicks lead by 3. Mullen with the steal. Harper trying to get it back, but deflects it out. Nice play by Chris Mullen.
Mullen anticipating that pass so beautifully. Derek Harper thrilling a few fans with an up-close visit.
Mullen and Avery Johnson now in the backcourt. Weber, Gatling, and Houston up front. Don Nelson going with another one of his hybrid lineups. Holding foul called on Harper. It's a non-shooting foul, so the Warriors will throw it in. Don Nelson, certainly a candidate again for NBA Coach of the Year. He's won it 3 times. This is 17th season as an NBA head coach, 32nd year in the league. Houston shooting. Byron Houston cuts it to a 1-point Knick lead. Harper all the way. And Derek Harper now 0 for 4 from the field. Johnson with a beautiful ball fake. Bonner did not go for it. And then a foul called on Mullen.
Well, no one's protecting the middle. Johnson stays with the drive, but Harper makes a tremendous block, sending that shot back. Excuse me, Marv, that was Bonner, rather, on the shot block.
Mason with a nice fake, but not hit the reverse. 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Mullen backing Harper. And Mullen with a nice move. Chris Mullen with 7 points, and the Warriors take a 1-point lead.
That's an example of Mullen's greatness. You don't have to have blistering speed, a criticism that's always come his way, but if you've got the moves and the instincts, so what? And he has them.
Away from the ball, foul is called as Bonner and Gatling got involved on Gatling. There's Sprewell returning, replacing Gatling.
Chris Mullen on that last move. Harper almost gets it away from him, but the sure-handed Mullen recovers, fakes, works his way in. He knew right away he had a much shorter Derek Harper on him, so why not go to the basket?
Herb Williams. Mason able to get to it.
Knicks are now down to 50% from the field, as are the Warriors. But now the Knicks have to deal with the Warriors style.
That's a traveling violation. A little hop taken by Herb Williams before he put it on the floor, and the Knicks commit their 10th turnover. Golden State with only 5. Knicks have hit a lull after the good start.
Somewhat predictable, though, the way they were shooting that ball.
By yourself, bro.
Now Mullen, played by Blackman. Good play by Rolando Blackman. Here's Blackman. Rebound Williams. And he is fouled. Byron Houston complaining about the call. That is his first.
You make reference, Marv, before to Don Nelson being a candidate for Coach of the Year, and it's really amazing when you say Golden State Warriors these years, you say problems, injuries, no center, and yet they are one of 6 teams in the Western Conference with a better than 500 record right now. There are 13 teams in the West, and Golden State Warriors are doing just fine. In fact, they're right with the Portland Trailblazers for 3rd place in the Pacific Division.
And if they win tonight, they'll be tied at the All-Star break with Portland for 3rd place. Portland not scheduled tonight. Knicks and the Warriors tied at 35. Houston on the drive. And he was pushed. Anthony Mason called for the foul. Byron Houston will go to the line.
Houston getting surprising time early in this game. On the average, Byron Houston plays only 10 minutes a game. Comes in tonight averaging 2 points a game for the season. So you can see those numbers aren't impressive, but Don Nelson going to him early.
So Golden State by 1. Pat Riley now has Blackman and Hopper in the backcourt. Bonner with Williams and Mason up front. Hopper for 3. And back comes Sprewell. Here's Weber. Oh, he whips by Mason trying to draw the foul. There was contact. Blackman eluding a couple of Warriors, thought he was fouled. And Hopper resets.
Well, he sees the size advantage Anthony Mason had on Avery Johnson, but the collapsing defense strips Mason of that ball.
See the Knicks route. Oh, beautiful look from Mullen. And Weber gives the Warriors a 38-35 lead. Timeout called by the Knicks with 6:43 remaining in this first half.
It was the
second quarter. Warriors lead by 3. Starks, Anthony, Smith, Ewing back on the floor. Bonner remains. Ewing. Yes. So the Knicks finally convert in the second quarter and now trail 38-37. Avery Johnson operating against Greg Anthony gets the ball to Chris Mullen. So the Knicks went 5 minutes, 35 seconds without scoring. Charles Smith rebounded by Chris Mullen. I should say without a field goal. Knicks going 5:35. Air ball thrown by Sprewell.
That didn't even go out of bounds. It had so little on it.
Bonner stopped. Nice move, but he's rejected by Houston and then lost it to Mullen. Sprewell. Crowd wanted a traveling violation. Sprewell looking to do it off the dribble against Charles Smith, and does. Latrell Sprewell, who last night scored 12 of his team-leading 34 points in the first quarter. He was the high man for Golden State. Golden State opened up with a 43-point first quarter. They shot 57% for the game. Pushing foul was called. John Weber and Smith getting involved. Weber called for his second. Smith had the ball knocked away. Good play by Houston.
He's made a couple of good defensive plays.
And Sprewell is blocked by Anthony.
You see how difficult it is to deal with Sprewell, to contain him. He is so aggressive offensively. You've got to challenge him. You've got to be distracting him, waving the arms, moving the feet. If you stand there and watch Sprewell, he's going to go around you. He's so quick. You've got to be aggressive on him.
Victor Alexander checks back in for Golden State.
Mullen backing in Greg Anthony now at that height advantage.
Well, Chris Mullen looking very sharp. And the Warriors now lead 42-37.
Oh, what Golden State is doing so well. When there is a mismatch, they go to it right away. That's Don Nelson's style, exploiting weaknesses.
Warriors lead at 42-37. 4.5 remaining in the first half. Here's Mullen. 13-3 advantage for the Warriors over the Knicks in the second quarter. And the foul is called on Golden State. John Weber. And that is now Weber's second foul. So Greg Anthony to the line. And the Warriors now lead 42-38.
Greg Anthony showing how important he's treating his foul shooting with his form as he practices very hard at looking at that rim and studying it and taking an extra second.
Well, Greg shooting 75% from the line. 42-39, Golden State. Now Billy Owens handling the ball. Sprewell played by Starks, then by Ewing. Starks with the deflection, and Oakley drew the foul. It's on Alexander.
Oakley is so quick to a loose ball. The ball was deflected in the air, and Oakley just went for it. You can see the hands deflecting that ball, and then Oakley right on the case. That was John Starks on the initial deflection.
Golden State over the limit. Oakley will go to the line, but first a timeout called by the Warriors.
Get the latest info on the New York Rangers as Sam Rosen joins head coach Mike Keenan on the Mike Keenan Show, Saturday night at 11:15 here on MSG Network.
Shop. It's for everyone.
High-point man of the game. Greg Anthony leading the Knicks with 10. Latrell Sprewell has 15 for Golden State. Chris Mullen with 9 points. Oakley hitting 1 of 2. And the Knicks are down by 2. And again, the Warriors choose to go with the 6'9" Billy Owens handling the ball. The Knicks 1 of 12 from the field here in the second quarter. Alexander. Wild hook shot taken by Victor Alexander. Oakley sets the pick for Starks. Anthony pretty close to a travel. Or did he travel?
A little hop and skip there before the shot.
Without putting the ball on the floor. Sprewell stumbling his way, fortunate to get it to Mullen. Off-balance shot by Mullen. And a new 24 for Golden State. Here's Sprewell for 3. Latrell Sprewell has 18 points, and Golden State has a 45-40 lead.
It all gets down once again to shooting the basketball. I cannot believe, Mark, the Knicks are now 41% for the game.
And Patrick Ewing with his 4th bucket. He has 8 points. Knicks down by 3. Now Owens goes down low against Smith. Oh, what a shot by Billy Owens. It's only his first field goal. Warriors lead 47-42.
Knicks shot close to 58% at the end of the first quarter. That's what they were going at. Now they're 41 for the game.
Starks with lots of time. John Starks did not like the particular angle he had from downtown, so was able to move to his left and hit the three. He is 3 of 3 from beyond the three-point line. Knicks are down by 2 points. Here's Mullen for 3. Chris Mullen has 12 points. And the Warriors now lead 50-45. Chris Mullen missed the last 36 games of last season with a torn ligament in his right thumb. Then tore a ligament at the base of the 5th finger on his right hand during preseason. He's really had a rough time. Mullen off the steal.
Oh, Ewing threw a pass away, though.
Mullen tried to go behind the back, and Anthony broke it up and knocked it out of bounds. Mullen also bothered by tendonitis in his right shin. This is only his 27th game of the season.
And it's showing because his normal all-star caliber play just has not been there, as he has started only 12 games this season.
Chris Webber sitting down, 7 points, 5 rebounds for Webber. The Knicks are down by 5. Minute and a half remaining in this first half. Marv Albert, John Andres, Bruce Beck for Al Troutler, Walt Clyde Frazier from Madison Square Garden. Anthony sets up Oakley. And the Warriors now lead by 3. Greg Anthony with 6 assists in this first half. Sprewell with a wild shot. Try to improvise. Ewing lost it on a double team. Here's Alexander. And the Warriors now lead by 5. Just under 1 minute remaining in the first half. Not a good one for the Knicks after the hot start. 15 turnovers by the Knicks, 7 for Golden State. That's a very high number.
Bob, we have seen this game turn around with the Golden State Warriors staying at their pace right from the start, sticking with it, and the Knicks are absolutely breaking down before the eyes of everybody here. They've lost their intensity, and they're just not shooting the ball with patience.
This is the biggest lead of the game for Golden State. They lead by 7. Down to 20 seconds left in the quarter. 3 on the shot clock. Starks called for a travel. Basket will not count. And John Starks chasing Mike Mathis to argue the call. And then cools down. Now Billy Owens departs.
Knicks have to slow things down when they look at the second half coming up soon and go back to their strength, which is their inside game against this undermanned team up front.
All right, the steal by Oakley. 5 seconds to go in the half. Smith. And it's tipped home. Oakley with the tip. 9/10 of a second remaining in the half. And that is the end of the first half. The Golden State Warriors leading the New York Knicks 54-49. The Knicks held to 15 points in the second quarter, a poor shooting quarter. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm going camping.
To the second quarter, where Bimbo Coles throws the ball away. Craig Elo breaks back, passes to Dominique Wilkins, and throws down 2 of his game-high 18 points. Atlanta obviously a little miffed over that 17-point loss last night, their worst defeat of the year. At Detroit, Houston expecting a lapper against the lowly Pistons. One of the guys in that aborted Pistons-Rockets trade, Matt Bullard, drills a three-pointer to make it 53-38 second quarter. Houston is winning big, a lapper indeed, 19 points ahead at halftime. One by one, the greatest stars in baseball history lined up at the unveiling of the new Ted Williams Museum in Florida yesterday. They all wanted a piece of Michael Jordan. Ralph Kiner, Al Kaline, Bob Feller, to a man, said that Jordan has zero chance of making it in their game, baseball. And I love the comments and the physical histrionics of Teddy Ballgame himself.
I would question whether he can do it. Maybe that'll be a stimulant to him, because it's going to be the hardest thing he ever tried to do. Now, that's what I think. And I am a Jordan fan. Boy, am I a Jordan fan. I've never seen anything like what he does. Sure. But when he starts hitting a little round ball with a little round bat, and he's coming from here, and he gets here, and then whoop, out there, and whoop, that there. He said, geez, I never saw anything like that. Because he never will have seen, up till the time that he sees it, against big league pitching, what he's going to see.
MSG's Tony Kubek, quoted in USA Today, wonders with Pete Rose banned from the game if Major League Baseball investigated Michael Jordan's gambling. Now this. At which time they will announce Yount's retirement. The United States Olympic Committee now says it will file suit against Tonya Harding, seeking to stop her from getting a restraining order to compete at Lillehammer. For some reason, they plan to have the Olympic torch guy ski jump, torch in hand, for the opening ceremony. I mean, isn't this tough enough and dangerous enough without having to hold on to something? Guess so, huh? Fortunately, torchbearer Ole Gunnar Fidjestal was not seriously injured today, sustaining a concussion, but he will not be able to take part on Saturday, passing the torch to someone else. Isles and Devils in action tonight. Highlights at 11 during Live from the Play-by-Play. Back to courtside.
Had 5 assists. Bruce Beck with Walt Clyde Frazier. You know, Clyde, you were the epitome of cool, calm, collected on the court. Latrell Sprewell, he is the antithesis of Clyde Frazier. Totally out of control, running around, but he's exciting, Clyde.
Yeah, he's also precocious, a lot, sometimes like John Starks, unbridled, but a very versatile player. He can dish and swish, rebound, reject shots, so there's nothing that he can't do.
Sprewell with 18 points in the first half to lead the Warriors. And right now, a look at the halftime highlights, which are brought to you by Minolta, makers of the new Freedom 105 EX, only from the mine of Minolta. Well, Greg Anthony unloaded from downtown.
Yeah, Greg becoming a consummate point guard, not only dishing and swishing, but this time with the three-pointers. So Greg, the team thriving under the auspices of Greg.
And John Starks from area code range.
Watch Starks very bridled on this play. He's going to take his time. The Warriors playing the Swiss cheese defense. Starks also drilling from downtown.
Well, we know Sprewell likes to go one-on-one, and so does a guy from New York named Chris Mullen.
Mullen having an off-season, bedeviled by injury, so trying to find his touch from the perimeter. Shooting only about 42%, but good manipulation here. Watch the poor defense. No weak side defense by the Knicks.
And Latrell Sprewell able to pull up and bury the J.
This is a player we were just alluding to. 44% from the field, drilling this one along the baseline.
So the Knicks up by 9 at one point, now trail the Warriors at the intermission. We'll take a short break, come back with second half action in just a moment at the Garden.
Don't miss.
And John Andres.
Thank you, Bruce. And a look at the statistics in the first half. The Knicks opened up on fire, but cooled off considerably in the second quarter. Look at the first quarter rundown. Knicks 58% on 15 of 26. Warriors 12 of 22 for 55%. And then things turned in the second quarter. The Knicks only 5 of 19. And for the half, they shot 44%. In all, and turnovers have killed the Knicks. 16 turnovers committed by the Knicks, 7 by Patrick Ewing.
A problem that has plagued the Knicks on and off this season. 17 points go to the Warriors because of the Knicks turnovers.
Warriors with a 54-49 lead as this third quarter gets underway, and Don Nelson opening with Avery Johnson in the backcourt along with Latrell Sprewell. Traveling violation is called. Victor Alexander, Kelly Owens, Chris Webber up front. Pat Riley has Greg Anthony and John Starks at the guards. Charles Oakley, Charles Smith, and Patrick Ewing up front. Smith. Very difficult shot by Charles Smith.
Boy, that was a difficult fadeaway jump shot. The half opened up with a good play also by Greg Anthony, forcing that Golden State turnover.
Warriors now lead by 3. Will it count? Yes, it will. Basket counts and the foul. So Weber will go to the line. Oakley called for his second.
Chris Webber driving that basketball. He handles it pretty well. He's such a big guy. But as you mentioned earlier, Marv, most of his scoring comes around the basket.
Weber now 1 of 4 from the line. Warriors are the worst shooting team in the NBA from the foul line. Off that high rebound, a battle leading to the foul called on Weber. That's 3 on Weber. Golden State shooting 65% at the free throw line.
And yet they are 7th in the NBA. Oh, Oakley! Beautiful pass, lead pass to Charles Smith. They take the 7th in the NBA in most foul shooting attempts, while being the worst in the percentage area.
And a loose ball foul is called. The outside official, Jim Clark, with the call on Starks. That's his second foul. Here's another look at that alley-oop thrown beautifully.
Yes, good look from Charles Oakley, sizing up the fact that nobody was around Charles Smith.
Warriors by 3. Minute and a half gone by in the third. Owens trying to put the move on Smith, and he certainly did. Beautiful drive by Billy Owens. It is only his second field goal. Golden State leads by 5. Starks with an open shot. John Starks opened up hot and then cooled off. Sprewell. What a touch. 20 points for Sprewell. 7 of 11 from the field. Golden State matching its biggest lead of the night, a margin of 7. Ewing set the pick, and Starks able to drive. Tipped home by Oakley, who took a shot in the mouth.
That's just a great finish by Oakley. The timing, the sense of when to go, and then to get it done.
Here's Alexander. Victor Alexander does have a nice outside shot. He's hit 4 out of 6 overall, and the Warriors again take a 7-point lead. Chris Mullin getting set to come on. Smith. Rebounded by Ewing. Smith is fouled. Charles Smith will go to the line. Sprewell called for his first. Here's Mullin replacing Avery Johnson. Last night in Charlotte, because of the matchups with Muggsy Bogues at times providing problems with the Warriors, Don Nelson started a backcourt of Avery Johnson, who goes about 5'11", and Keith Jennings, who is 5'7". Jennings has not played at all tonight.
And oddly enough, Victor Alexander, who played 12 minutes of the first half, started the game, didn't play at all in Charlotte. First time in a long time that Victor Alexander didn't get a game at all. In fact, it's the first time, as you said earlier, Marv, in his three-year NBA career that he didn't play.
Warriors lead by 6. 3 minutes in. Third quarter. Crowd showing some impatience here. You hear the rumblings. Owens stripped by Smith. Charles Smith doing it again, did it in the first half, and it led to the foul on Owens. That's 3 on Owens.
Plays like this help make Charles Oakley an all-star. Here's Charles Smith now a couple of times tonight wrestling the ball from the offense. Anthony
for Oakley. Ewing flashes down low. Then it goes to Smith. And he's fouled.
What a fake. Boy, he got rid of Owens with that head fake. Charles Smith with that little head fake opened up the baseline to him. Then he got fouled.
Foul committed by Weber, and that is 4. Let's see now, they've changed the foul. It's Mullen. Mullen called for the foul, his second. So Weber with 3, Owens with 3. And now Byron Houston, who played well in the first half, has come on for Victor Alexander. I think Alexander was cut, and they're checking him out.
Charles Smith did not play in the earlier meeting against Golden State, December 9th. There's Alexander.
Golden State trainer Tom Abdenauer taking care of the cut. That's why Alexander left.
On the brother of Philadelphia 76 trainer and former Piston trainer Mike Abdenauer.
Mike will be the all-star. Oh, nice lead from Owens to Weber. And the Warriors lead by 6 points. Starks, yes. Knicks down by 4.
Ewing guarding Byron Houston.
Tough off-balance shot by Chris Mullen. And Mullen has 16 points. Warriors lead at 66-60. Oakley, yes. 13 for Oakley. Knicks showing some signs here in the third quarter after the poor shooting second quarter. Weber on the follow. Sprewell gets to it. And a foul is called.
You talk about an active body. Number 15, Sprewell, reaching over the Knicks, who had better position and still coming up with that ball. Long jump shot hits the rim. Sprewell comes up with it after this miss. You'll see Sprewell reaching over Ewing, who just is standing there with his arms at his waist.
And Sprewell gives the Warriors a 68-62 lead. Knicks take a timeout. 7:20 remaining in the third.
Classic television. Hogan's Heroes.
Green Acres.
Look at the NBA All-Star game. Those that will not be attending it for the Knicks this Sunday at 6 p.m. Our Delta Airlines schedule then takes the Knicks to Jersey on Tuesday night after the All-Star game. And then Thursday, the Knicks go to Cleveland as the road wars continue for the Knicks. And now, right now, they're concerned about their play against the Golden State Warriors. The Knicks and the Warriors would love to go into the All-Star break with a win, and Knicks are not finding it easy here at home.
And Patrick Ewing has been quiet. 4 of 11, 8 points. Mullen with the steal. Sprewell sets up Weber, pops it out to Houston, and a travel is called. Patrick Ewing is the only Knick starter not in double figures.
Well, it's interesting, too, because he's being guarded by a 6'5" tree named Byron Houston. Houston is fronting Ewing. And Ewing's getting the double team and getting a lot of pushing and shoving as Weber comes over to help out Houston.
Byron Houston called for a second foul. You know, this is the type of matchup that Don Nelson just loves to pull off if it is successful, going with a mismatch, which has been to his advantage up to this point. That foul, though, by Houston sends Ewing to the line.
I can see what this mad basketball genius, too, might tell Byron Houston, Don Nelson and men we're looking at, too. It would be something like, get out there and make Ewing crazy, bother him. And that's what he's doing. And he's forcing Ewing into constantly posting up. Now, the Knicks teammates of Ewing have to have patience and stay with Patrick as he reposts himself and go to him, because it makes no sense at all that a 6'5" Byron Houston can hold Ewing down.
Warriors lead 68-64, 6:45 remaining in the third quarter. And at the defensive end for the Knicks, Ewing is guarding Houston, although he drops off to help out on Weber and try to help out there, but Owens a little bit too quick. And the Warriors now lead by 6.
I mean, Houston's the last man they're going to go to on offense, so Patrick almost has a night off guarding him. He can help his teammates out and think in those terms.
And Mike Mathis says offensive foul on Charles Smith.
Charles too aggressive, setting that pick to get Ewing across the middle.
Well, for the Knicks, a little bit different than what took place last night against the Sixers, where the bench saw quite a bit of action. Knicks using all 12 eligible players for only the 5th time this season. They were able to wallop the Sixers 114-79, but they are in a very tough matchup here with the Warriors, trailing by 6 points. And Ewing is fouled.
That's fine for the Knicks. Keep going to Ewing. He's gonna succeed one way or the other, draw the foul or get the field goal or a very good shot.
Houston called for his 3rd. Warriors bench has done the job tonight, counting for 23 points, sparked by Chris Mullen, who has 16 of the 23. Here comes Victor Alexander. And now the Warriors go to a more conventional matchup with the 6'9" Alexander.
Well, that's because a bit of a pattern has developed here. It's like the Knicks discovered Ewing. Nelson noticed it, so we can't stay with this. We got to change things now, so he comes back to Alexander.
Byron Houston sitting down with 5 points and 3 fouls. Warriors by 4. And they try to work the back door with Mullen. Anthony driving the lane. Beautiful move by Greg Anthony.
The right hand at the finish, the only thing he could have done, and he did it perfectly.
Foul called on the Knicks. Charles Smith called for a block. That's his 3rd. And the Knicks with their 4th team foul. Substitution Chris Gatling for Chris Weber.
Take a look at that last drive by Greg Anthony going around Mullen. Mullen thought he probably had an advantage making Greg go right, but there was the right hand to finish the shot.
Sprewell trying to set up Anthony, and Ewing over to help. Here's Alexander. And Smith rebounds. Protects away from Mullen.
Nelson's going crazy.
Starks for Ewing. Yes. And the game is tied at 70. Don Nelson very upset. He felt that the ball was pinned on the glass and did not get the call.
Florida said, hey, who are these people? Right. And 3 months later, we're world champions. And they say, that's a miracle.
The tradition of incredible savings and value continues at the Tri-County Jewelry Exchange. There's nothing like it anywhere. Over $30 million of exquisite jewelry. Spectacular Valentine gifts at prices you're sure to fall in love with. Come in today and enter to win Tri-County's Sweetheart Sweepstakes, a 6-day, 5-night all-expense-paid vacation package to Sandals Resort, Jamaica, the Caribbean's #1 ultimate all-inclusive luxury resort for couples only. Air transportation supplied by Air Jamaica. Make this Valentine's Day extra special at the Tri-County Jewelry Exchange in Leathertown today.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting to where I like to watch what I eat.
Owens called.
These little defensive victories for the Knicks that come along one by one register very high on the Knicks effectiveness scale.
Ewing. So the Knicks take a 72-70 lead. And the Warriors now with 5 turnovers in this third quarter. Turn of events in that department. It's a bad shot by Sprewell, but handled by Owens. Anthony went behind the back. Anthony with the drive. Oh, spectacular play by Greg Anthony. Knicks lead by 4. Greg Anthony has come so far these past 3 weeks. It's a 12-2 Knick run, and the Knicks take a 74-70 lead.
This is the kind of moment that Greg Anthony doesn't get to enjoy after a terrific play, the timeout and the fan applause. And Greg holds it up, then goes behind the back and heads straight for the basket. And this is an area of his game that he's come so far in, and that is the driving layups that heretofore the last couple of weeks have gone astray around the basket and out. But now they're falling for Greg.
Anthony, 5 out of 7 from the field, 14 points along with 8 assists. 3:59 remaining in this third quarter. The Knicks with a 4-point lead, coming back from a 7-point deficit.
I'd like to remind you, Marv, that Chris Mullin standing here taking the ball out of bounds is telling you that your brother is sitting a few feet to our right.
He's poking at my older brother Steve. Handles the play-by-play with Jim Barnett on the Golden State Warriors telecast. Illegal defense called for the first time. And by golly, there they are. Steve obviously has a problem with his hands.
Well, I'm sure you
which we know from going one-on-one on many an occasion.
We appreciate Chris pointing that out.
Offensive foul on Sprewell. Another good play by Anthony.
Greg Anthony right on Sprewell. He knew which direction he wanted to go in, and he took it.
Steve Albert working with one-time New York Knick Jim Barnett. Handles the color commentary. Starks, yes. And the Knicks are getting good shots here in the third quarter. They now lead by 6. Sprewell. 24 points for Sprewell. The Knicks had 12 points in a row, 12 unanswered prior to that field goal by Sprewell. Ewing. Rebound handled by Weber, and he's fouled by Oakley. Avery Johnson will come on now. Don Nelson wants to settle things down. Both teams are over the limit. 3:08 remaining in the third quarter. The Knicks able to turn things after the 15-point second quarter, outscored by the Warriors 25-15 in the second.
Well, Chris Webber, the highly touted rookie, was beginning, I should say, was bidding to become.
Whoa! Air ball by Webber.
In case he didn't know it, he's being reminded, Marv. Webber was hoping to become the second youngest player in history to play in the NBA All-Star game. He was second to Hakeem Olajuwon in voting for the Western Conference center job, which Olajuwon got.
Charles Smith. Smith on the tip, and a loose ball foul is called. Or basket interference. Let's see. Yes, that's the call. Basket interference as you get another look at it.
Smith going up to knock that one down, but Charles Oakley took that intended hoop away.
How about Webber now 1 for 6 from the foul line. Mullen fouled by Smith, made contact, and that is his 4th foul. As Chris Mullen goes to the line, let's check in with Bob Page.
At suburban Detroit, Hakeem Olajuwon having a veritable field day. 25 points, 17 rebounds. The spin move for 2 there, 75-63. The Rockets led it late third quarter, now up by 12 in the fourth.
All right, Bob. 2 minutes, 38 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and the Knicks now lead the Warriors 76-73. Anthony Bonner has come on, replacing Charles Oakley. Check that. Charles Smith sits down. Smith with 4 fouls. Ewing rejected. Pat Riley wants a goaltend. Whoa.
Mike Mathis has a message for Pat Riley. That prior to that, what looked like a goaltend, what took place negated that goaltend call.
Starks for 3. Rebound Weber. Mullen. Chris Mullen with the sweet touch. 19 for Mullen. And the Knicks lead by 1. Starks is fouled. Fouled by Mullen. That is his third. Last night against Charlotte, Mullen only 3 of 12, 6 points in 30 minutes. So he has come back in a big way here tonight on certainly his favorite court in the NBA.
Many happy memories for Chris Mullen here at Madison Square Garden while playing for St. John's. For the season, Omar, but 43% from the field. You know, Chris is still showing the effect of the operations to his thumb and little finger, and very aggravating injuries that have kept him out and certainly off his all-star form. As I mentioned earlier, 5 years gone by, the last 5, he has been an NBA all-star.
Just hasn't been able to find the usual rhythm from game to game. He's part of a different ball club also. A lot of new faces on the floor with the departure of Tim Hardaway and Chris Markalonis to injuries. Byron Houston. Knicks lead 78-77. Houston has done well after getting very little time in recent games. 7 points for Houston. Starks for 3. Bonner trying to keep it alive. Now Mullen for Weber. Has Sprewell. Nice move by Weber, and Sprewell finishes it off. Little showtime handling of the ball by Chris Weber. Warriors by 1.
Quite a play for a 6'10 Weber.
We're just under 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. Illegal defense charged to Golden State. That is their first infraction. Here's Derek Hopper for Greg Anthony, who hears it from the crowd.
Take another look at that Weber play. Look at the deception here. Faking going behind the back, sucks the defense left, and he passes right to Sprewell.
Derek Hopper has been off. He's 0 for 5 from the field. Ewing with the drop step move. Again, being defended by the 6'5 Houston, but Weber came over to try and help and was called for the foul. That's 4 on Weber. So Ewing to the line. He is 4 for 4 from the line. Game is tied at 79.
Well, tonight at midnight, you can take another look at this game with Knicks Rewind. And through 3 quarters, this is a fine game.
John, it's just like watching a movie a second or third time. You see the subtleties. You see different aspects of the game. Perhaps they'll understand what you're saying the second time. That's a 3-pointer by Sprewell. And he has 29. The Warriors lead 82-80. Starks for 3. And Oakley keeps it alive.
Once again, Ewing and the 6'5 Byron Houston in a matchup. And Houston keeps pushing Ewing out. Now Ewing is out setting a pick.
Down to the final seconds of the quarter. Starks. Again, a 3-point attempt.
Well, if you're Don Nelson, you're delighted with how his team played him.
Johnson's pass intercepted by Bonner. That's the end of the third quarter. Warriors lead by 2. We'll be back at the Garden in a moment.
Latrell Sprewell, the Golden State Warrior all-star, hitting from three-point range and continuing to kill the Knicks through 3 quarters.
Well, in the third quarter, the Knicks 10 of 22 from the field. Golden State 13 for 21. It counts, and the foul. The Knicks and Warriors now tied at 82. Foul called on Weber. That's his 5th. And Bonner will go to the line. Here's Anthony Mason replacing Charles Oakley. 13 points, 9 rebounds for Oakley.
Anthony Bonner dazzled the Sixers last night in the 4th quarter. The game was, of course, all Knicks, but he came out with great energy and showed Pat Riley why he deserves a good look from time to time, and he's getting the playing time now. He's got the energy to stay with this fast-moving Warrior team.
Well, Weber remaining on the floor playing with 5 fouls. That's deflected out by Bonner. Chris Gatling returns, and now Chris Weber will sit down. $11 points, 9 rebounds for Weber. Sprewell with 31 points.
And with a man all over him.
Warriors lead by 2. Sprewell averaging 21.6 coming in. Loose ball foul. It's on Mason. That is his 2nd.
You know, it's interesting, Marv, how Patrick Ewing tonight, with his number of moves, has not seen fit on a regular basis to take that ball to the basket over the shorter people.
And Bonner called for that foul. For the most part, he has been guarded by 6'5" Byron Houston, and even the normal centers for Golden State, as you say, are the shorter people. Alexander about 6'9". That might be generous. Gatling listed at 6'10".
He's having a problem, though, with guys who are leaning into him, you know, at a lower level than the normal centers in the NBA, who would play you kind of, you know, your shoulders up almost, and he just is resisting taking his size and his advantage to the basket. The Warriors are really playing him well.
Latrell Sprewell in his 2nd season out of Alabama. He's headed to the All-Star weekend in Minneapolis and is closing with a gigantic performance. Had a terrific game last night in Charlotte. Warriors have a 4-point lead. Harper with a bullet, surprise Mason. And Golden State will take over. Now Chris Mullen handling the ball. Sprewell draws the double team. Sprewell with Bonner falling down on the fake.
Bonner made a great recovery and stayed with Sprewell, who is putting on an all-star show. No question about that. He's very unimpressed with himself, too, Sprewell. He doesn't rejoice. He doesn't overreact to his terrific play.
This is the Eagle Vision. Now, some people...
Latrell Sprewell has been the story for the Golden State Warriors. 35 points on 13 of 18 from the field. That's a season high for Sprewell. He's 1 shy of his career high. That accomplished in an overtime game against the Lakers last season. Harper. Oh, is he off? Derek Harper 0 for 6 from the field. Sprewell again. And that is a career high. Warriors 90, the Knicks 82. And the Knicks have not been able to do anything to stop Latrell Sprewell, who now has 37 points. 8-0 run by Golden State starts. Back come the Warriors, led by Avery Johnson. Now Sprewell still guarded by Bonner. Pat Riley has tried everything. It's a one-on-one. Sprewell, that time came up short.
Nelson's so well known for clearing out and letting a superior one-on-one player operate on the whole half side of the court.
Starks lost it. Sprewell with a terrific play. Bonner able to knock it over to Mason. And the Knicks regroup. 3 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter. And the call against the Knicks. Offensive foul on Mason.
Chris Gatling bothering Anthony Mason. It looked like Gatling was the aggressor, but Mason was called for the foul. Meanwhile, the Golden State Warriors have opened this thing up 8 points in their favor right now.
And Greg Anthony comes on replacing Derek Harper. Now Sprewell called for offensive foul. Good play by John Starks. In that sequence, Starks guarding Sprewell.
Sprewell very concentrated on getting to the basket, committed that offensive foul with Starks in his way.
Starks changed his mind. Ewing facing a double team, and he is fouled. That's number 4 on Byron Houston.
Well, the play of the defense of Golden State's done a terrific job denying Ewing the low post position that he wants. They're succeeding in getting him outside a couple of steps, making him become a jump shooter. There's a position now with Ewing down low, and they got the ball to him quickly when he got the position.
Foul on Gatling, that is his 4th. So Golden State with their 3rd team foul. The Knicks have 2. Patrick Ewing to the line where he has hit on 5 of 5. Warriors by 7. 8.5 remaining in the 4th. So it's Golden State 90 and the Knicks 84. Chant of defense from this capacity crowd. Mullen, not a good shot, he rushed it, and it was deflected short.
Ewing was right on the case to help out.
Mullen staring at Jim Clark. He thought he was fouled.
Ewing dying for the ball. Now he comes out a couple of feet.
Went to the drop step. Oh, what a shot off a double team. And it brings the Knicks within 4. Avery Johnson able to swing away. Looking for the mismatch. Starks pokes it away from Sprewell. 5 on the 24. Sprewell pitches back out. Here's Houston. Had to fling it. Oh, Gatling getting inside. Ewing felt he was pushed.
No box out, no contact with Gatling's body, and that enabled his quickness to beat Ewing to that ball.
The Knicks are down by 6. 7:20 remaining in the 4th. Starks for 3. And Houston gets to it.
Ewing gets that ball. He's got 3 people on him.
Gatling very active. Gatling on the rebound. And a foul call. Mason called for the foul.
Gatling showing a lot of quickness around the basket, which is taking its toll on the Knicks.
Well, Chris Gatling in his 3rd season out of Old Dominion. Local product from Elizabeth, New Jersey. #1 draft pick of the Warriors back in '91. Known primarily as a shot blocker. Did a nice job here in the 4th quarter. Now has 5 points. Gatling only a 61% free throw shooter.
Both teams have to be tired. Golden State's doing well considering this is their 4th road game in 6 nights. The Knicks finishing a 7-game stretch in 10 days tonight.
John Starks He's been off. Charles Smith has come on for Anthony Mason. Mason picking up his 4th. Now Anthony for 3. And it's rebounded by Owens, rather by Sprewell. Mullen for Gatling. Warriors lead by 10 with 6.5 remaining in the 4th quarter.
Knicks are being made to look like a fatigued team that can't keep the pace here in the 4th quarter.
14-4 run by Golden State.
The Knicks are jamming at midnight in an encore play of tonight's Knicks game. It's the Knicks Rewind at midnight, right here on MSG.
You've got to see it to believe it. The Men's Apparel Liquidation Center in Farmingdale. A better way to buy better menswear. Aisle after aisle, one great name after another at prices you won't believe. We sell only brand new first quality current season menswear. Suits, sport coats, slacks, outerwear, ties, belts, and more. If you can't find it here for less, they don't make it. The Men's Apparel Liquidation Center. Nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only, and only for the smartest shoppers. 399 Smith Street, a block and a half east of Route 110.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting to where I like to watch what I eat. We marinated in a natural citrus herbs and spices, and then we roasted over this hardwood fire that really is so hot that the fat goes out while all that really great wood-roasted flavor is sealed in.
Now at 2 locations in Rockville Center and Huntington.
Remember, it's the wood that makes it good.
Well, looking down the road following the All-Star break, our next Knicks telecast on the MSG network, the Knicks and the Cavaliers. That'll be a week from tonight from downtown Richfield, Ohio. Knicks game night at 7 p.m. We'll be on hand at 7:30. Chris Mullen has come off the bench to hit for 19 points. He's been a major factor.
Well, he throws a beautiful pass, as he did to Chris Gatling on that play, making this a 10-point lead for the Golden State Warriors. Chris epitomizes team play.
And Latrell Sprewell has had a career-high 37 points. See the Knicks struggling again at the 2 of 10 from the field. Sprewell 34 last night. Hot shooting night last night and tonight. The last 2 games, 27 of 37 overall. Ewing coming up short, and the ball lands in the hands of Sprewell.
Well, I tell you, Byron Houston's going to be on Don Nelson's all-star team for this game. He's really contained Patrick Ewing.
And John Starks has gone cold. He's missed his last 8 shots. He's missed his last 6 from downtown. Avery Johnson mishandled, but then recovered. Houston, oh, he went glass and extends to a 98-86 lead with 5:40 remaining in the 4th. Starks met by Sprewell and lost it. 3-on-1. Sprewell behind the back for Johnson, rejected by Smith.
Sprewell dishing that ball off to Johnson, who has his shot sent away by Charles Smith.
Mullen with the pick. Mullen with the jump shot. And the Warriors have opened up a 14-point lead on the Knicks, who are hearing some boos from the crowd. The Knicks have won 9 of the last 10 here at home. Greg Anthony allowed to penetrate.
You know, it has the look that the Warriors have 7 players and the Knicks have 4 out there. I mean, that just seems to be the look of this game right now. The Knicks are like out of gas. It looks like a Miami Heat 4th quarter on Monday night.
Score was tied at 82 apiece, and the Warriors pulling away now, lead by 12. Houston, again, Byron Houston has 11, and the Warriors up 102 to 88. Starks, and this time he was fouled. Sprewell called for his 3rd. And Starks will go to the line. Now they changed the foul. It's Johnson picking up his first. John Starks, 2 of 2 from the line, but he has struggled from the field. He's missed his last 8 shots, and you wonder if that is affecting his free throw.
You wouldn't be incorrect in wondering that. That's for sure.
Thank you, John. 102-89, Golden State with 4:20 remaining in the 4th quarter. Now Mullen being played by Smith. And Mullen is rejected. Gatling on the recovery, stopped by Ewing. And away from the ball activity involving Smith and Houston. Houston is called for his 5th foul.
He was trying to deny Charles Smith the position. Charles kept competing with him. Houston fell down after a foul was called. But this guy who came into the game tonight playing 10 minutes a game has been ultra important to Don Nelson's team, as he has made Patrick Ewing another guy out there on the court in comparison to what Patrick normally is.
Warriors lead by 12. Now Nelson going with the casual, dapper look this evening.
Nice
Turtleneck effect.
Nice of you to throw in dapper at the end of the
Just under 4 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter.
One-on-one for Sprewell. His teammates are leaving him all alone.
Seems so unusual to see Sprewell miss a shot occasionally. 14 of 21 from the field. Ewing's pass misfired. He was trying to connect with Smith. Golden State has been a very difficult team to beat when they've had the lead in the 4th quarter. They have rarely blown leads. Sprewell is fouled. Smith called for his 5th. And the Knicks with their 4th team foul. Golden State over the limit. They're calling it a non-shooting foul.
Tell you, Marv, the Knicks are in this together, though. They've all played at a much lower level of proficiency together, with the exception perhaps of Greg Anthony's play tonight.
Anthony has been outstanding once again. 16 points, 8 assists. But this one of those games, you look at the box score, you cannot tell who has played well or who has not. That is from the Knicks point of view.
It's so similar to Monday night in Miami after a blistering 1st quarter.
Ewing called on the foul, and again Gatling will go to the line.
I mean, after the 1st quarter in Miami the other night, the team was playing perfect basketball, as they were here tonight after 1. And then, bye-bye, baby.
You know, that's a phrase that I think you can really work with. You know, Russ Hodges had it in baseball. You can bring it to basketball.
Bring it back, huh?
Gatling is not a good foul shooter, but that his first miss. He hit his first 2.
Pat Riley said before the game that we are tired. And his team has certainly demonstrated that.
Warriors with a 40-7 edge off the bench, spearheaded by Mullen, Gatling, and Houston. Pushing foul. Caught on Gatling. And the Knicks will go to the line. Mullen with 21 points. Houston with a season high of 11. And Gatling with 8.
Well, the way this game is going, certainly the Golden State Warriors will now go to 7 games over 500. And ironically, a year ago at this time, there were 7 games under 500. And this is without their all-star Tim Hardaway.
And now Chris Webber replaces Chris Gatling. That's a little pat from Don Nelson. Outstanding job by Gatling. Warriors 102, the Knicks 92, and the Knicks go to pressure. Off the steal, Starks changed his mind. Smith on the recovery. .102.94, again pressure. Avery Johnson has a problem. Almost picked off, but Sprewell gets it down. Rare to see Knicks go to pressure defense. But now in a desperation situation, down by 8, 2:20 remaining. Johnson getting it up over Ewing. Avery Johnson with his first field goal.
I think if Ewing was feeling energy, he would have gone up and challenged that shot.
Knicks take a timeout, 2:07 remaining, fourth quarter.
Small. Small. Big.
So take your pride for a ride and let the world know you're a Knicks or Rangers fan. Order your Pro Picture plates today.
Well, coming up following Knick basketball, live from the play-by-play with Mike Francesa, Jennifer Smith, supermodel Christy Turlington, on hand along with Dutch Garfinkel, Lizette Melendez, singing one of your favorites, John, Goody Goody.
Absolutely.
Right at the top of the charts. I'm not saying she'll be singing tonight, but chatting with Mike and Jennifer. And it's coming up following the Knicks and the Golden State Warriors.
Well, Golden State had just coughed one up under Knicks pressure. Avery Johnson under pressure now goes down the middle as the shot clock winds down and gets that over Patrick Ewing. Right on target for Avery Johnson, a man who began the season thinking he'd be wearing a San Antonio Spurs uniform, but ending up with Golden State, and everybody's happy about it.
As Avery Johnson, man who's been around 2 years with Seattle and Denver, San Antonio, Houston, back to San Antonio, now Golden State. 10-point lead by the Warriors. 2 minutes remaining in the fourth. Anthony for three. Oh, he's done it again. Greg Anthony with a three-pointer. He's hit 3 from downtown. 104-97. The Golden State lead is 7. Again, good pressure, but a foul is called, and that will send Sprewell to the line.
Knicks turning up the pressure. Sprewell with the basketball is covered by the two Knicks forwards, Oakley and Smith. Draws the foul. Sprewell, part of his all-star year, is expressed in the fact that he's in the top 10 in 4 categories. First in minutes played in the NBA, over 44 minutes a game. 6th in three-point makes. 7th in steals, and 10th in scoring in the NBA at over 21 a game.
He was 10 of 10 from the line last night in Charlotte. 7 of 7 here. And the Warriors lead 106-97. 39 points for Sprewell. Greg Anthony with 19 points. That's a season high. Here's Starks. Rebound Oakley. 106-99 with a minute 38 remaining. Again, the pressure. They double up. Mullen pitches it down. And Houston was able to make the grab. Off the mismatch. Chris Webber fouled by Starks, but Chris Webber is the player you want at the line if you're the Knicks. He is 1 for 6 from the line.
Golden State's handling the pressure well, Marv, in that they are attacking the Knicks' pressure. They're not holding back.
But Webber hits on the first. Gets a grin from Chris Mullen, who comes over to slap his palm. Fans in sardonic fashion calling for a timeout, and obviously did not bother Chris Webber.
That's impressive by Webber. He knows he's a poor foul shooter, but he knows it's important to make those, and he did.
Here's Starks. John Starks is fouled, attempting that three-pointer. John Starks has missed his last 10 field goal attempts, having one of those nights. But he will go to the line where he is 3 of 4. Starks overall 6 of 20, has 18 points. He had that hot hand early, in particular from downtown. And now for the first time tonight we will see Keith Jennings. Don Nelson looking to the 5'7" Jennings to handle the press. This the first time he is on the floor this evening. He started last night against the Hornets. So the Knicks again trail by 7. Johnson trapped. Johnson, Sprewell, and Jennings will try to get it across. Knocked away from Sprewell, but a reach-in foul is called. Foul committed by Smith. And he's fouled out. So Charles Smith departs with 16 points, 7 rebounds. And Rolando Blackman will come on. Little offensive defensive shuffling by Don Nelson as Jennings will sit down. Sprewell to the line, and he is a superb foul shooter. 78% for the season, 8 for 8 tonight as he looks for points 40 and 41. Well, Sprewell, as I mentioned, 10 of 10 last night, and finally misses here. Timeout has been called. It's a 20-second timeout with 1:14 remaining, and the Warriors up 108 to 101.
Well, Knicks putting on a big push here at the end with their pressure defense, but the Warriors are withstanding this pressure rather well. Pat Riley telling his team specifically what he wants them to do now after this next foul shot.
Knicks are down to 1 timeout remaining, and Golden State has 3. Both teams have used their 20s. The last Knick loss here at home was back on January 23rd, that Sunday night game against the Philadelphia 76ers. Knicks have won 9 of the last 10 at the Garden, and they've won 20 of 25 overall this season at home. Down by 7 with 1:14 left in the fourth. So Sprewell with 40 points, career high for all-star Latrell Sprewell. Warriors lead by 8. Starks has missed his last 11. And back comes Johnson, hit on a reach-in.
Well, John will certainly look forward to the all-star break and the next part of the season. Over the last 7 games, John's been shooting at a 38% clip from the field, and it's really a low moment for him, certainly with his field goal percentage these days.
Avery Johnson, a 71% foul shooter. John Starks 6 for 21 from the field. Just under 1 minute remaining, fourth quarter. The Knicks are down by 9. Blackman for 3.
Byron Houston able to keep that inside position, enabling the Warriors to get that rebound.
And again, the Warriors able to handle the double up, handle the press. 30 seconds remaining in the game. There's Sprewell, hit on a reach-in. Well, the Golden State Warriors, hopefully on the foul, will close out this road trip with a huge victory here against the Knicks, making it 3 out of 4 on the trip. They won at Washington, they won at Charlotte, they lost at Indiana. And suddenly Sprewell has lost the touch at the line.
Last year, the Warriors didn't win their 13th road game until the end of March.
They are among the better road teams in the league. Victory here will make it 14-10 away from home. Sprewell with 41 points, 20 seconds remaining. Ewing for 3. Oakley fires it back the other way. And Starks finally hits. He had missed 11 straight shots. Warriors 111, Knicks 103, 10 seconds to go. Here's Johnson fouled by Starks. Well, for the Knicks, the All-Star break ahead next Tuesday. They resume against the New Jersey Nets at the Meadowlands, and they are 0 for 2 this season against the Nets. And the next Thursday, they'll play the Cavaliers in Cleveland. And then back home to face the Chicago Bulls a week from Sunday.
Oh, when Hardaway went down, Don Nelson earlier this year, Don Nelson reached out for a guard and came up with Avery Johnson, who was rebuffed really over the summer by San Antonio, and he's done a terrific job for Golden State.
Down to 4 seconds. Substitution being waved on. Keith Jennings over the scorer's table. He's waving it off. They're telling him to come in. As Oakley looks to inbound, and foul is called with 2 and 8/10 seconds remaining. Byron Houston called for the foul. Now Keith Jennings will come on, replacing Chris Webber. Chris Webber just gave the timeout sign to one of the fans. Well, now Don Nelson changes his mind. Webber stays on the court. And apparently Houston is fouled out. That was number 6, so he will depart. Strong game for Houston, who in the early going was defending against Patrick Ewing. Houston 5 of 6 from the field, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 11 points representing a season high.
Patrick Ewing, the 4th leading scorer in the NBA, certainly held in check tonight. 7 out of 19 from the field. Patrick and Houston had a lot to do with that.
Keith Jennings handling as time has run out, and the Warriors are very happy ball club as they defeat the Knicks here at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks had won 3 straight against Golden State, 4 of the last 5, and the Warriors get a split on the season series. The Golden State Warriors, led by Latrell Sprewell, who had a magnificent night. 41 points for Sprewell, and it's the Warriors 113, the Knicks 105. We'll be back with our recap in a moment.
Knicks addressing the press. Let's check in with the coach.
You know, we ran into a team that had a couple of guys that really shot the ball well, and we did not play the game well at all. You know, we turned it over, you know, in the first half 16 times, and probably lucky to be there at 5, and really had a chance to steal the game at 76-70, but you know, had 3 or 4 broken plays, and you know, they got it going. So you just got to give them credit. Sprewell was just great tonight. You know, I haven't seen a guard get off like that against us in a long time. He's retired. He was the last one that got off like that. But he was just unconscious, as was Mullen. And just had enough. They had enough to get it done. And it's a bad way to sort of end this weekend, going into the weekend. But, you know, we just got to gather the troops on Monday. And, you know, we got a tough schedule next week. So.
How troubling is it?
Well, it's a tough way to lose. You know, we had a great game last night, and you know, played the game the way that we felt it has to be played, and we just did not, you know, show the intensity that we needed. We just were not in it, you know, from an intensity standpoint. Whether or not we're drained or what, but you got to give them a lot of credit. They came in here playing last night, and they played great. You know, we did not. We did not have a good game at all.
You tried, I mean, it was mostly John. You also tried Greg and AB a little.
I thought Greg did a good job on him, but, you know, I gave him a rest there for a while, and, you know, it was a tough matchup because Mullen and Sprewell are range shooters, and they both were getting it going. We're a little bit undersized in the backcourt, you know, when it comes to, you know, guys that can post up, and, you know, they're penetrating. Their bigs do a good job of breaking defenses down and getting into the paint and, you know, kicking to them. But I thought Greg did a decent job on him while he was on him. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't good enough. Nobody could really handle him.
You rode John.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm going to ride him. And, you know, I just felt at that time we had a chance when we got ahead 76-70 to really open it up. But he missed 11 straight shots at one time, you know, and, you know, we just got to deal with that.
What was the key to holding Patrick as well as they did with Houston?
Well, they scramble a lot. You know, they scrambled defensively. They take you out of your post-up sets. I thought we got it to him a number of times, and I don't know, you know, I think he had 8 or 9 turnovers. I mean, it just was not a well-played game from our standpoint. And, you know, they lean and they sort of rake and they double. They do a good job of stunning, taking you out of your post game. And we just could not get a consistent, you know, post-up game that was effective, you know, throughout the night.
Was there anything else you thought about with Sprewell when he got that hot?
You know, it's, you know, we were 34-13 coming in here playing the game the way that we play it. We play people tough, play them straight up, and we just did not get up and into them. We got up and on them, but getting up and into them is a whole nother story. You could start breaking your whole defense down, and we went and doubled them a little bit in the second half, and you're just opening up Mullen, you open up other shooters. So they play the game extremely well. And, you know, sometimes when a guy gets going like that, there's not much you can do. We put 3 different guys on him, and, you know, he still got it done.
Tonight aside, you go into the All-Star break where you are you pleased with what's taking place so far this season?
Well, you know, we're right there. You know, I mean, you got to keep it in some kind of perspective. You know, we're right there with 5 other teams, and I think it's going to be just a dogfight, you know, the second half of the season, and we're going to have to, you know, step up. We get Hubert back after the All-Star break, and I really do have to settle down into a rotation, you know, when we get back, and you know, sometimes you string it out a little too far trying to give guys, you know, an opportunity to play and to contribute. But, you know, we've been hurt a little bit that way. So when Hubert comes back, we're going to have to make some decisions, you know.
Pat, this is your 6th loss at home as compared to 4 all last season.
That was last year. It's called this year and last year theory, okay?
What's the difference?
Well, you know, last year we won our last 22 games at home. So last year at this time, I think we had about 4 losses at home. And, you know, I mean, you can't really go back and say, well, you know, I mean, they're entirely different years. You know, we went through a period where we had a lot of injuries and we did not have the same team that started the season. You know, last year we had the second half of the year we finished 24-4. I don't know if we're capable of doing that this year with the competition and the way things are, but, you know, I mean, that's what's ahead of us there. The important thing is not worry about, you know, whether you win or lose a few at home. You'd like to hold the home court, but it's where you end up at the end of the year. So we might have to win a few more on the road.
Coaches Conference has been brought to you by the New York Times. Okay. We are joined now courtside by Michael Kay and Curtis Bunn. And Michael, you worked the visiting locker room. What was the reaction from the Warriors?
Well, they were pretty happy in there. They gave a lot of the credit to Houston, to Gatling. They felt that Gatling gave them some needed energy in the second half. And, of course, Sprewell, who said that playing in the Garden and the game right before the All-Star break and going up against Starks really didn't mean anything. But as he was saying that, had this big, big grin on his face. You know that it did mean a lot to him.
Anyone mention how big this win was?
Byron Houston said it was the biggest win of the year for the team. Don Nelson said it was huge. He said usually teams the last game before the All-Star game come out flat, lay an egg, so to speak. He said, but they came out very, very hard. They played very well and did themselves proud.
All right, let's turn to Curtis Bunn. And Curtis, I know a lot of people must have been talking about Sprewell, the performance he had.
The Knicks certainly laid the egg. Starks, in particular, assumed the blame. He said, you know, it's been a long time since a guy got over on me like that. And he really felt like he didn't get into him, as Pat Riley had said in the coaches' conference. And he felt a little bit embarrassed about it. And he said it also put a damper on his All-Star game weekend.
How did the Knicks take the loss?
They were a little subdued about it. They've done a good job of not getting too low or too high after defeats. But Charles Smith said basically when you look back on the first half of the season, they should feel proud because of the injuries, the adversity, and the fact that they've maintained. But Greg Anthony said the game reminded him of the Miami game down there where they really started off well and then were terrible the rest of the way, and he finds that to be a disturbing pattern.
Was the word flat used tonight at all in the post-game comments?
No, it was mostly lack of intensity. That's the word, the catchphrase for the Knicks now.
Well, to me, that means pretty much the same thing. Lack of intensity, flat, it didn't really matter. The Warriors with a 26 burst early in the fourth, and that proved to be the difference. And once again, the final score at Madison Square Garden tonight, 113-105. The Warriors beat the Knicks last game before the All-Star break. Knicks back in action on MSG Thursday at 7 o'clock, and you'll see it right here on MSG. Sports Desk and Game Night will precede the ball game. Coming up next, we'll go live to the play-by-play with Mike Francesa and Jennifer Smith. So for our entire crew, I'm Bruce Beck. Thanks for joining us, and so long from the Garden.
Stole to ski jump, holding the torch. So here he comes, practicing today, torch in hand. Maybe not such a good idea after all. He was knocked unconscious, but he suffered just a slight concussion. And the jump is still in for Saturday. But poor Ola is out. That's sports.
From New York, former Capital.